2, 1.
All right. The vest is coming off. Actually, I might have to put it back on. It's like 65 degrees up here. It's pretty chilly in Saratoga for this Florida boy. Tommy, who's that? I just saw a tail and I know it's not yours.
No, this is my man Trevor here. Usually I like to say he's my assistant, and I know he's probably popped up on many different podcasts. He always loves to come and try to get all up on my computer screen. He always seems to know when the camera's on. I think it's maybe one of his many talents.
Oh, good. It's good. It's good seeing Trevor. Joe, you want to get the dog and bring the dog on too?
All right, 1 second.
It was not gonna have Z.
I was half joking, but I want to see Joe's dog, Joe and Megan's dog.
Hello, buddy.
Say hi, buddy.
There he is.
Don't be shy. You know you love the camera.
Yeah. We are definitely. There's got to be one person out there watching this just rolling their eyes, but we're an animal-loving company. What can we say? I mean, ZZ and Jake, one of our 4 cats, they've been on the podcast multiple times. But no, it's good seeing you guys, both 4-legged and otherwise. Happy Travers Week, Wednesday of Travers Week. Before we go any further, good luck to Winning Spirit later today in the John's Call. How he runs is probably anybody's guess. The talent's there. All the pieces of the puzzle are there. It's just a question of him bringing it to the surface. So I hope like the guys do, he runs well. Joe, let me start with you. What's going on downstate in good old Brooklyn, my friend?
No, not too much. Just making some final preparations for the big day, and gonna be rooting you guys on all week. It's gonna be a fabulous week of racing, and then I feel like after Travers, the last week of the meet is like a little bit more relaxed, and it's gonna be a great couple of weeks.
Yeah, without a doubt. We were just talking before we came on and hit record, and I'm checking my phone over here. They're behind the gate for the Juddmonte International with, of course, City of Troy, an odds-on monstrous favorite. He's a pretty good horse, to say the least. But we were just talking, guys. I mean, the Travers, Tommy, this is about as fun and just phenomenal a Travers, just in terms of, not only talent, but the amount of just plot lines in the race. I mean, this is like a legendary field.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I feel like the big overarching plot line of the race so far is just going to be Torpedo Anna, how she's going to hold up with the distance, and then, up against the Grade 1 company boys for the first time. And, Kenan Capeek's no stranger to taking shots like this. So I'm very intrigued to see where she's going to fit into the race. I think she's going to be fairly forwardly placed. It's kind of her MO. And, Fierceness and Dornock, I think, are going to hook up front too as well. So where she kind of fits in there is yet to be seen, at least in my mind. But, if she can run those upper 90s, even crack 100 by her, I think she's got a shot, but it'll be tough.
Is she capable of that, though? And, and this could be like a 3-hour chat between us. I mean, just given the quality, it's Travers Day, surprise. I mean, you could really pick apart all the stakes on Saturday, and we'll touch upon Vahva and West Point. I mean, we've got a slew of entries coast to coast and everywhere in between. So there is a lot to talk about, but for the sake of timeliness, we'll start with the Travers. I wanted to get a quick comment on the major players from each of you. Joe, succinctly, where does Torpedo Anna stand with you? Is she fast enough to win this race on Saturday?
I think she is. You look at the other races that she's won, 99, 96, 95 buyers. That's not far off of the top. And a lot of those races, especially the Coaching Club American Oaks, she was geared down. She was just screwing around during the stretch, so she could have run faster, I think, if she wanted to. The rail draw is tricky. I mean, Ryan Hernandez is going to have a decision to make, whether he wants to center, whether he wants to just hold her and see what everybody else does. And the other thing is like, I feel like Fierceness gets lucky with the post positions a lot. Like he was in the 9-hole in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, then he was in the 10-hole in the Florida Derby. He was outside in the Holy Bull. He was outside in the Kentucky Derby. He was outside in the Jim Dandy, and now he's outside again in the Travers. So he's going to have the run of the race, I think. And if he shows up with his good effort, I think everybody else is running for second.
Oh, you do? You feel that strongly with Fierceness, that if he's on his game and is able to pair up strong efforts back to back, that he's that much of a likely winner?
I do, yeah. I mean, I think As much as I respect Dornock, I think those last two, and he's game as hell, and I appreciate that he's not going to go down without a fight. Just feel like those last two races, he had the benefit a little bit of some speed favoring tracks. I think Fierceness ran on a much fairer track that day and beat Sierra Leone fair and square. So yeah, if he's able to pull the right trip and shows up with his good effort, so that's a question mark. Yeah, I think he's clearly the horse to beat.
What about you, Tommy? And again, you helped take care of Fierceness when he was a wee itty bitty foal on Lane's End 3 years ago. Are you that confident that if he's able to pair up what he did in the Jim Dandy, or maybe even run a little bit better, that he's going to win this race?
You know, as you said, I mean, I have a soft spot for this horse, but I just think he's just due for one of his classic clunkers. So an interview for the Poli, he said, you know, I expect the same if he wins by 5 or he's 7th by about 10. So
Right.
either one of these horses with Fierceness, I think he's due for just an okay effort, and then I would imagine he rests up and then goes straight to the classic, and then off of that, I think he's probably going to be your favorite. But for me, I think the race goes through Dornock. I think he's kind of cemented himself as the horse to beat in this division right now. I fully expect Dornock and Fierceness to be 1-2, turning for home, and just kind of Dornock toying with that field. A horse for me that I think is great play, especially at 21, is batting down. Half to Tacitus, excuse me, full to Tacitus, who I was a huge fan of. Just a horse for me that, again, Bill Mott gets these horses to peak at the right time. And at 20-1, this is a horse I'm willing to find out. He's definitely a horse I'm using trifectas, try to get him there at a price. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets bet down a little bit. But I liked his Jim Dandy effort. Obviously, he was just a third best horse that day. And he kind of, if you go watch the replay, he kind of came in and really met Sierra Leone down at the rail, which kind of surprised me how much he shifted in that race. But for me, he's just a horse that I've kind of had my eye on for a while. I thought he's a really nice horse. Obviously, he didn't win until his 4th start, which is, again, very Bill Mott-esque. But to be peaking at the right time, there's no better trainer than Bill Mott.
No doubt about it. I'm curious, just backtracking for a sec to Fierceness. I questioned, could he get the mile and an eighth? 9 furlongs at Saratoga is a very different 9 furlongs when compared to Gulfstream Park. And he answered that question. He was phenomenal in the Jim Dandy. I mean, just a legendary performance out of him and Johnny's ride, the whole 9 yards. I do wonder if he wants to go this far. That's my last question. I'm not totally worried about him completely tanking, even though he's had a very in and out career. I wonder if he wants to go a mile and a quarter. Dornock just gets it done. That rope-a-dope style that he's got, where he lulls other horses in and then just turns them back. He'll be 3-year-old champion if he wins this race on Saturday. And what about, Joe, I'll start with you. What about and he's a grade 1 winner, so I say this a little tongue in cheek, but the perennial bridesmaid in Sierra Leone, he's back out to 10. There's speed in the race. You got the filly on the rail. You got Dornock. You got Fierceness. You've got Unmatched Wisdom from the same trainer. I mean, he should get, at the very least, honest fractions to close into. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I think he will get the setup. I'm just, my feeling. I'm just like a little bit tired of him not quite getting there at short prices. I think he's obviously a horse you have to use. Like if you're playing multi-race tickets, you got to use him. But to me, I'd rather, if I'm going to bet within the race, I'd rather go for a closer who's going to be a little bit of a price, and that's Corporate Power. I think that he's getting good at the right time. I thought he ran really, really well in the Curlin when Unmatched Wisdom had it all his own way. I kept thinking Unmatched Wisdom was going to blow him away in the stretch, and he kept trying and kept coming and looked like a mile and a quarter was going to be right up his alley. We all know Shug, his MO, just make these horses get slowly better and better, like Bill Mott, comes in off a couple of really fast breezes, which is not necessarily his style. To me, he's the interesting horse as a closer. And who would you rather have on his back than Javier Castellano, who's won the Travers, 6, 7 times?
I think he's got 7 Travers wins. And just as a quick side note, and I agree with everything you said there, Joe, I was just over at Shug's barn getting the weekly updates. And, Shug was sitting outside his office. He told me to take a seat in the other chair. So we were chatting. And I said, not for nothing, Shug. I thought Corporate Power, his curling effort was exceptional, given just the impossible setup and task he had in that race. Yeah, he's an interesting price, and Shug Shug assured me, doesn't know if he's good enough, of course, but assured me horse is as good as human hands could make a horse going into the Travers. So top pick for you, Joe, is it going to be Fierceness?
Yeah, I would say I would go Fierceness, and then I put Torpedo Anna second, just because I think she's got the second best race out of anybody in here, and then I'll take Corporate Power third.
Okay, what about you, Tommy? Give me your try.
Let's see. I'll go Door Knock on top, taking the bomb with Batten Down run second, and then the closer Sierra Leone to finish it up. I think Fierceness again throws in that clunker, and then I just don't think that Torpedo Anna really. I don't know if she's gonna love the distance, and I think if she's up close with some of the like Fierceness, will probably back up down the lane. But that's my try.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to take the filly here. She's probably her and Next are my two favorite horses in training. So I'll take the filly over Sierra Leone. I'll put Fierceness third and Dornock and cap my super. But a fascinating Travers. I hope it will be a great day of racing, safe day of racing, and just a phenomenal penultimate week here at Saratoga. It's just wild. I know I've been up here all summer, guys, but I mean, I'm not wrong. No matter where you're quote unquote summering, just how fast time flies. I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah, man. It's like Saratoga, me, I feel like for the first half kind of feels like it's dragging, and then you wake up and suddenly it's Travers week. I think the second half of the meet is like, wow, where the hell did that time go?
Yep, totally. What about you, Tommy? In the old bluegrass of Kentucky.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you said, it felt like it dragged on. I got to go up for Whitney weekend in the sale, and then I feel like it's just like Joe said, you wake up and you go, wow, it's Travers weekend. It's flown by, and I think this car's been worth the wait. It looks fantastic.
Yep, totally. So just my phone started blowing up, and I had a feeling when I saw who was texting me or the partners texting me, the one common link is they're all in on Don't Look Back at All. And so it's official. She's scratching out of the Smart and Fancy on Friday, and we'll roll the dice September 7th in the ladies sprint at Kentucky Downs. So we're going for the money. And you know what? Having a face for me, the decision, like having to go up against Roses for Deborah, as great as Don't Look Back at All has been, facing her for $1.50 in an ungraded stake. Let's roll the dice and go for a real, not only another graded stakes win, but a massive purse.
Yeah, no doubt. And not to put any pressure on Shuggy Bear, but I'm hoping for the same decision with Cugino. Got the $3.1 million Nashville Derby. I know he's thinking about the Saranac too. That's 175. Great.
We're going to Nashville with him. Some breaking news here on the West Point podcast. Yep.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. We can do some journalism too, not just some handicapping. Very good, Jason.
Yes. Yeah. We got Flavor Flav, Mr. Pratt locked up on the Koojmeister for the Nashville Derby, but that's where Shug wants to go.
Perfect. But yeah, let's take advantage of some of these big purse races that they have big purses, but you don't necessarily have to have the grade 1 numbers to win them. I think that'll change over time. I think once Charlie Appleby and these guys start sending more horses to Kentucky Downs, I think it's going to become harder and harder. For now, I think these are like you say, similar quality to the $175,000, $150,000 races at Saratoga. So I think it'd be silly not to take a chance at some of these big purses.
Yep, right on. And speaking of big purses, well, we're even money on the morning line for 500 large in the grade 1 Ballerina with a post time of 4:20 Eastern, race 10 on your Midsummer Derby Day program at the Spa. The very lovable and very fleet-footed Vahva. It's tough. It's just, I don't care how many horses you buy, how much money you spend. Horses like her they're just difficult to find and difficult to get. And I mean, what can you say, Tommy? From day one, she has tipped her hand at being a top class horse, and a combination of Vahva being the goods and the way Cherie has brought her along. I mean, it's a match made in heaven with those two. And, it's exciting. It's a whole lot of just nerve-wracking. It's a lot of different emotions that run the spectrum of amazingly phenomenal to nail, and I bite my nails, especially before races, to the nail biting. You're so tense and nervous because you just want everything to go according to plan. But I mean, it feels great having basically the best older Philly dirt sprinter in the country in our stable, along with a number of other partnerships and other stables, I should say. We own her in partnership is the point, but it feels great having Vahva up here for Travers Day.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Like I said, nerve-wracking as well. I mean, anytime you can be even money in a grade one, I mean, especially on Travers Day at Saratoga, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right? Like I said, she's just been stellar, and ever since Irad got on her, she's just been just fantastic. And I don't have the words to describe how awesome she is. And obviously, we've had the ballerina circled for a while, so I've been anxious. I was waiting for the notification on the post draw when those are coming out, and I just think this is going to be a statement race forward. Really, to strut her stuff, show everyone what kind of horse she is. I mean, she's done it here this year, and just really step up and really dominate here in the Ballerina, and really establish herself as the top horse in the Philly Mare Sprint division.
We already beat Society. We got the better of her. She was off a long layoff, mind you, in the Chicago. It's still, Joe, the graveyard of favorites. A couple of days ago, and I hadn't watched this particular race in a number of years. It's been a minute or two, but somebody had shared American Pharaoh's Travers when Keen Ice wore him down. So again, nothing is a given. You look at Vahva's field. Yeah, she's going to be odds on. I mean, does anybody scare you in the Ballerina?
Well, I think honestly, whether or not Money's Gold runs on Friday is going to be a big factor here, because I don't know if you have any insight on that, Jay, if you want to break any more news. But
no, I don't. I can call Todd right now, though, or my good buddy Jake West, who does Bloodstock for the Lows.
yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get him on the horn, but no, because I think otherwise Society is totally loose. Like Money's Gold is the only other horse in here that I think can run with her early. And I know we beat Society last time, and I know Vahva beat her fair and square. But like you said, she was coming off of that 7.5, 8 month layoff. So I think that she will be tighter for this. And if she does get loose, she's going to be tough to reel in. So yeah, if Money's Gold doesn't scratch and is in here, I feel great. I feel less great if she scratches. But, as we saw last time, Vahva can adapt to multiple pace scenarios. So I still think she's obviously the horse to beat. I just think we're a little better off if the 8 stays in.
All right, well said there. Good luck to Vahva. One quick pop as I scroll through the Sword Dancer. And speaking of Charlie Appleby, once again, he has got a major hand in that race. We've got Jace's Road. Like, you think of all the unpleasant surprises this game, especially being on the ownership partnership side with horses getting hurt. They have setbacks. This was one of those pleasantly surprising positive kind of deals with Jace's Road in his first start since Derby Day, the Kentucky Derby of May of 23, showing up. And it's kind of like in race 4, by the way, and they're starting. What time's post on Saturday, by the way? Let's look.
First post is 11:20.
11:20 Eastern. Okay.
Yep.
So we're in race 4. West Point's got 2 horses in on Saturday. I finally found the Jace's Road race. We're in the 4th, 1:00 Eastern. It's kind of like a weird 2 other than optional claimer, Joe, where he's not. And look, he's off a long layoff. We know that. It makes me feel good Brad shipped him, took the time, effort, and money to ship him to Saratoga. Mm-hmm. But along the lines of the kind of field, he's running against horses, and many of them have been tough, multiple winners. These like old pro warrior type horses, but some of them to me look past their prime. There's not like an up and comer in this race that you're going, oh, that's probably a stakes horse in the making. So my point is, yeah, we got the long layoff, but Joe, I'm pretty pleased about the competition. If we're bringing Jace's Road back off such an extended layoff.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I was looking at this race, and like you said, I was expecting to see some like 3 for 4 Chad Brown or Bill Monster was running 100 buyers, and you just don't really have those horses in here. You got a bunch of 4, 5, 6-year-olds like that, like you say, maybe past their prime. Like, I don't know, I guess the horse to beat is To Our Outside and Can't Hush This. Flying Peas had an unbelievable meet. Maybe that horse gets loose. But honestly, who else in here really scares you? I do want to temper the enthusiasm a little bit because, like you say, he's coming off such a long layoff. But if you're going to land in a 2 other than at Saratoga to make your return, this is the one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Would be great to have him back. I have always felt Jace's Road would really, and I know he got us to the Derby, so amazing. And thank you, Jace's Road, for getting into the race. But even when he was running well in the winter, spring of his 3-year-old season, even tail end of his 2-year-old season, I've always felt 7/8 to a mile was his sweet spot. That might be off base, but I'm excited to see him back, and hopefully he can string together some solid races because the talent is there. So, giving a quick rundown, Joe, why don't you take it? You're super close with the Cassie camp, and we've already got Sandman pointing to the Iroquois and Tommy's neck of the woods. September 14th at Churchill Downs. We got Volt. Aside from winning Spirit later today, Volt is our first Thursday starter as we get that Tapit Colt underway.
Yeah, I'm excited to get him started. It's 5.5. Like, that's almost certainly going to be too short for him, but it's a good spot. It doesn't look like there's any killers in there. So I think I'm pretty sure he's the most expensive horse in the race, at least, but I think he's probably got to be among the most talented too. I think this is just a starting point. Like I said, I think 2 turns is going to be his jam going forward. Definitely 7 furlongs and up. But yeah, this is a good starting point. Hopefully he works out a good trip and at least gets a solid education, if nothing else.
Excited to see him go. Love those Tapits. We've got a nice one in Sandman. Here's to Volt, win, lose, or draw, joining him with a big effort on Thursday. Tommy, a horse I have not given up on, is Concord Bridge. I'm thrilled to see him back in the entries Thursday in race 3 out at Del Mar, even if he's going to potentially need a race. And what about the summer our good buddy John Sadler's having in San Diego? I mean, he's just been crushing it.
Yeah, he's done fantastic out there. It's been awesome to see. Obviously, we've had a couple with him out there run really well, and to be part of that with him is just fantastic. But like you said, I think Concord Bridge will probably need this off the layoff. Just get his sea legs under him again and get used to it. And then of course Baffert has on the outside that's 6 to 5 that are always tough when you run into those and those maiden special weights out west, whether it be Del Mar or Santa Anita.
Coming out of the indispensable race, that on Bayer back on July 25th, I mean, got a respectable average, I guess, esque fig for that kind of race at Del Mar. But I mean, on the sheets, that race came up insanely fast. My eyeballs almost popped out. What did Indispensable run? A 6 on Ragozin, I think, if memory serves, in that race.
Sounds right.
Does anyone remember?
Yeah, I think you're correct.
It was fast. Even if I'm wrong, it was a fast race. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what Canada Gate does. One of a couple of Baffert horses, but good luck to Concord Bridge. I really like Concord Bridge. I know, again, hasn't run since last October, but I think this horse is going to turn out okay for us. I really do. So don't look back at all. She is scratching. We'll go to the Ladies Turf Sprint September 7th at Kentucky Downs. My boy Coast Along, who I think, fingers crossed, just showed, hey, I'm fast. I have talent. I want to do it. I just don't really want to go 2 turns. We went long on the turf, dirt, short on the dirt. He didn't beat anything, but put it together all together last time in a blowout win at Laurel. I'm excited to see him come back. And again, my take with him is he just wants to go short on the turf. So we're going to put that theory to the test on Friday at Colonial Downs. And then we've got Cajun Gold, who, I mean, Joe, ran as well as a turf sprinting 2-year-old could without winning his first start a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. There was a long point on the turn and turning into the stretch in that race where I thought he was going to pack it in. He was just behind horses. He was a little bit green, and you would have understood if it was a first-time starter. He was like, oh, not for me today. Boy, he put his head down, split horses, was still coming late, and just got passed over the top. And of the speed horses, of the horses that were close to the pace, he was the only one still around at the end. So I think it was a very, very encouraging first effort for him. And yeah, can't wait to see him hopefully move forward and get that diploma.
It's a race, and from your lips, as they say, but it's a race dominated by first-time starters. We do have to run against Kale's Angel, who clearly and complexity's been just, speaking of crushing it. He's been doing that as a new 2-year-old sire, but that horse was actually favored first out and clearly showed speed and got a little tired there. I have not seen our price in the program. I would imagine we're favored. Great spot for Cajun Gold. And then we've got the two boys, Tommy Pascaline and Start to Win, Travers Day down at Colonial Downs. And again, a lot of guesswork in that field because it's pretty much all firsters. But I think both Arnaud, who does a phenomenal job, and Cherie, who's great too, they both, like, their respective camps have been pleased with both horses coming into that 6.5 furlong race.
Yeah, 100%. I've been excited to see them both go, and like you said, the field is really made up of all first-time starters. So it's kind of who knows what's going to happen right out of the break. That's kind of what I always look for in these first-time starters, especially with our horses. Is how do they get out of the gate? If they can get out good in one piece and get in a good rhythm early. That's always what I look for, and to just look professional as they do it. I just really want to see that from both of them, and of course, we have them right next to each other in stall 2 and 3, so it'll be easy to find them.
And they're both by Upstart, which makes
Yeah.
it that much cooler, right? And again, yeah, it's about a career. We want all our horses, especially these 2-year-olds, to just have a positive first out experience. Hopefully run well, but get something out of it, get some foundation, get an educational run under their belt, whether they win or whether they don't win. Oftentimes you can find out way more about a horse if they don't win in a losing effort. So good luck to the two boys there from OBS. Speaking of twos and good things come in pairs, we've got two horses remaining. Both, I could almost shed a tear, guys, how much I love both these two New York bred yearlings, the Instagram filly and the Oscar Performance Colt. Joe, give me a quick thought on the Instagram filly, who is getting close to being sold out.
Yeah, no, she's super quick looking, and from a stallion that I think first crop stallion that I think is really intriguing, being by Into Mischief and as precocious as he was, he didn't quite go on as an older horse, which I think is the only reason that he doesn't stand for $50,000 at some huge Kentucky farm. But I think his horses are going to be fast, precocious. She strikes me as a Saratoga starter next summer. George Weaver does a great job at getting his 2-year-olds ready every year. I seem to feel like they always outrun their odds every summer at Saratoga, and she strikes me as one of those horses that should be ready to go. I mean, it's obviously early, doing a lot of projecting, but in terms of her pedigree and her physicality, she looks like an early 2-year-old to me.
And powerful, man. I mean, she's got legs for days. That was what I thought of that I love Van Halen, especially David Lee Roth Van Halen, and they've got that song Drop Dead Legs. That's what I had in my mind seeing her across the street even before we bought her. But no, she's a great price. George, in addition to what Joe just mentioned about George Weaver, just won his 1,000th career race. He's a former mentee to both Dwayne Lucas and Todd Pletcher. Wonderful guy. And yeah, can't wait to have that Instagram filly just tearing up the track up here next summer. And then we've got this stud, Mr. Tom Murphy by Oscar Performance. The pedigree's there. You got Christoph. And to top it off, I mean, dude, you're talking about a New York bred here.
Yeah, it's it's the perfect package, and as a lot of people know, Kid Joy is my all-time favorite, so I have a soft spot for him anywhere I can find him in a pedigree. So when I saw we bought this guy, I was pumped. Like you said, New York bred, and with Belmont opening up 2026 with the synthetic track, there's 3 options for this horse. And again, Oscar Performance, you would expect him to throw a lot of turf horses, but he's had a lot of really nice dirt horses too. So there's so many options with this horse. And now, by the time he's 3, he's gonna have 3 different tracks that he could potentially run on in New York. And with Christophe Clement, I think the work he does speaks for himself. Obviously, most recently, Carson's run and Don't Look Back at All up at Saratoga. So it's just a complete package, and I fell in love with him when I first saw pictures and videos of him.
Yeah, I think of Christoph. I mean, we were fresh. I mean, literally fresh off winning the Grade 1 $600,000 Saratoga Derby with Carson's run. That occurred. I mean, a half hour before night one of the New York Bred sale started. And again, jumping in on 4 awesome, I mean, just phenomenal New York Bred yearlings, 2 of which are going to CC. I mean, it couldn't have been any clearer in my mind what kind of trainer and operation he runs with the job he's done. Forgetting about anybody else, don't look back at all. Gallon of Rush, Moment's Notice. We can go on and on and on, but just again, the way they brought a son of Cupid along to make him a 2-time Grade 1 winner on the turf. I mean, that horse is writing his own Disney movie. It is incredible. So boys, we'll have a great Travers Day. I hope you guys enjoy it wherever you're watching from. And Joe, refresh our memory here. And it's not because I'm getting ready to mail you a check, but maybe I'll do that now that I thought about it. When's the date of the big day? I mean, it's approaching like as fast as Carson's run, correct?
Yeah, man. It's 3.5 weeks away, September 14th. Woo! So yeah, we got everything locked down, just figuring out the order of things. And yeah, we're stoked, man.
September 14th. Good. So you'll be watching, again, knock on wood, Sandman. You'll be watching his Iroquois literally at your wedding.
I'll see if they can put up a projector screen for me.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You better share a picture / video. If somehow you're able, maybe not a projector screen, but if there's sort of a big screen TV at the bar or whatever, and you get the race on, please share it with all of us, because that'll make my day.
Yeah, no doubt. And then my boys all know who he is now, because on my bachelor party, I showed the race to them and they all bet. So they'll be ready to put both fists in on him again.
Well, good. Give him my number. I'll give him a good price on the Oscar performance and the Instagram, Philly. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to cash a few tickets for that.
Right. Well, hopefully he rolls in the Iroquois. And Tommy, I guess you're sort of chomping at the bit. It was great having you up here. You know, Whitney weekend through, of course, the big sale when we bought that beautiful Raging Bull colt named Bullfight, who's going to Cherie. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine you got to be raring to go with KYD opening up in a few short days.
Oh, I've been waiting on it for a couple years now. I've had that date circled on my calendar. I absolutely love turf racing, and Kentucky Downs is such a unique track, and it's just about 2 hours south of me here in Louisville, so it's a place I always try to make it to. I just absolutely love it, and one of my favorite handicapping angles. A lot of people don't agree with me on it, but if I can find a horse that can win at Kentucky Downs, they can win on anything. So it's one of my favorite angles to go to. Hopefully we'll have a couple horses they can add that to their resume this year, but like you said, I cannot wait for Kentucky Downs.
You know it. Well, you got Don't Look Back at All and Cugino, among others, coming your way, but those 2 locked in for sure. So we'll bid everybody adieu here on the West Point podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great Travers, everybody. Good luck to all of our horses all across the country, and let's go get them with Winning Spirit in a couple hours. Okay, guys?
Let's do it. Thanks, everyone.
All right. See you guys.